welcome once again to another video. We're carrying on with our Zetec Sump conversion, and on today's video we're going to do the test rig. Now you'll see how I come up with that. I had all sorts of ideas how I was going to do that, but I had quite a simple solution and it worked quite well. So keep watching to see how that pans out, and I hope you enjoy the video. I'll just crack straight into it. Okay, so I've basically capped off the end of this, put a bit of pipe through a bit of rubber pipe with a nut and bolt on the end of it and clamped it up, so that makes a bung to hold that. And the end of my blower, just wrapped a bit of tape around so I can sort of jam it into there like so and get some pressure in there. So the plan now is, with a bit of washing up liquid and water, just lightly go around all the faces on this side first and get some air in and see what happens. So you can see straight away we've got some bubbles around the edge there and some bubbles on the top there, so we need to do a repair on the top and grind back and re-weld that bit there. So I'll do that and we'll test it again. Let's see if that was successful. So again, a few bubbles, nothing too go smothering it because it'd be difficult to see where the leaks are otherwise. Let's get more promising. Excellent. Okay, happy with that bit. No bubbles on that side. So let's test this elbow here that we've made. That looks promising. No bubbles on that one. Some bubbles on the end there, but that doesn't matter because that's not doing anything. You'll see what it'll bubble up like if there is a leak. It'd be big bubbles like that, and there's nothing on there. So happy days. I'll undo this now and you'll see what I mean with the bung I made. Plumbers will recognise it as in design because you get bung kits like this for working on systems. So it's just a bit of rubber hose between a nut and a bolt. As you squash it up, that fattens out and seals that up. Good enough for what we want to do. So that's a success. We'll put that to one side and see what happens with the sump. Okay, so I've ummed and ahed about a few different ways of making a jig for testing the sump. So we can make an air pressure in there. I thought about ways of building something flat across there and curves to go in there and what have you. But then I've come up and had a brainwave of a simple solution. If we use our engine block, we can pressurise that. So what we need to do is cap this off. Now, I could simply bolt the head back on, but a few of the valves are missing, so that'll defeat that object. So what I'm thinking is cut a bit of steel that I can bolt down and silicone down into place. Clean that up, silicone that down, so that seals that bit off. And then when I flip it over, there's only a couple of other things I need to seal off then. The waterways I don't need to worry about because they're separate to the block anyway, or should be. So it's just a matter of oilways. So one of the oil dappings I can use to pressure everything up with, and then it's just a case of going around blocking off stuff as I come across it. I don't want to make this permanent on the top here because I do want to be able to bolt the head back on in the future for when I'm mocking up in the Escort, because I use this to mock up my engine mounts and what have you later on, so I want to be able to keep that in place. So I'll cut this basically the size first and then see what happens. super. Right, next thing to work out, get my holes are for me cylinder head bolts. Right, this'll do us. Just some stuff I've got kicking about. Durco HT silicone. I'm not too worried about what happens to this head. It is a scrapper, so I'm not gonna start getting excited about it getting mangled up like this. Use this picture of my clickbait, shouldn't I? New silicone head gaskets. Right, that'll do us. A nice mess of that. Should I tighten them up properly? Head gasket tightening up sequence. Right, that should tidy that up. I'll see that off to fashion. Not worried about it being hugely airtight, just to hold enough pressure so we can test the stump with bubbly. Block that off. We need to block off the dipstick hole. I'll just simply be able to stick something in there because there's an O-ring on that. I'm thinking just lock the end of this bolt off and tack it in place. So the next hole is this one, and I'm thinking I can possibly use that to make a plate I can connect the compressor to, perhaps, unless I've got somewhere easier to do that with. I do have an oil gallery here. It will probably accept a 3/4 fitting. There we are. I could screw that into there, so that'll be my, I think that's a, yes, lovely. Okay, so 3/8 PSP fit in there, so I can connect the compressor straight to that. Right, that caps off that bit. Simples. There's some whiz. You can find a way now of temporarily sealing the sump down. We should be able to pressure it up. Righto, let's see if we can make a seal or a sealish. I'm not too worried about this being particularly airtight around here. But so what I've got is a 20mm strip of rubber and 1mm thick. I'm just going to lay it across there, cut that off. And use ball-peen hammer, just like done with the gaskets and stuff before. Find a hole, pump it through. Not too, like I said, not too worried about how perfect or not this is going to be. It's just to hold it in place. As long as we can hold the majority of pressure in there, that's all we need for a minute, just so we can check the welds for porosity. Let's screw each one of these down as we go. Keep it in place. Right, so that's our sides done. I've already done this side, so we can just strip to go up over there. Right, let's get the sump on and see what happens. Now this isn't the way I'm going to seal it on the engine finally. I'm going to use a proper silicone RTV sealant, which is designed for just this sort of application. I know for definite Fiat use it, because I used it when I replaced the Fiat 500 sump on my daughter's car. That was the stuff that you use to seal it down. So I know it works, and I have done it before in previous sumps using it. Although at that time I didn't know that the manufacturers did that. I just thought it would be a good idea. Right, till then. Okay, so let's plug some air in. Now you hear a hissing of air. It's going to be coming out of all sort of here. I'm not too worried about that. And let's start with our bubbles. Oh, we got our first one. Yeah, so let's dry that off and mark that with a Sharpie. And repair them as we go. Okay, so we found our first one. So I'll cut that out with a slitting disc, re-weld it, and go again. Well, that's good news. Just 2 pinholes. One there and one there. The rest is sound. So I'm calling that a success. Quite pleased with that. Right, well I guess all that remains to do now is to give it a wash down and some paint. Right, I'll leave that dry off for a little bit first, then we'll get a coat of primer on it, and then we'll get a nice coat of glossy black on it. Always amazes me how much better something looks with a little bit of paint on it. I'll have to come back to that in an hour or so and chuck some gloss on it. I'll use this acrylic stuff I've had from local paint suppliers. I bought it for messing around with a Manta, but might as well use it on this. Bit of paint chucked at it, and now it looks blingy. Yeah, quite happy with how that's come out. Okay, lovely. That's another video completed. Be back onto the Escort on the next videos, I guess. It'll be a while before I'll be fitting that sump to the ST170 engine, so I'll grease up the inside of that with, well, oil up the inside of it and keep it stored away somewhere dry so it's ready when we need it. Thought I'd do that sooner rather than later though, because it's something a little bit different from working on the Escort, and I've put together now a group of videos together for Zetec conversion. So previously we did the water pipe rather, the diversion pipe from the back of the head forward. I've done the sump now. Next thing will probably, well, be a while yet, but it'll be engine mounts then. So when we start mocking it up in the car, I'll be ready to start building engine mounts and stuff like that then. So eventually I'll have more together, so you can a comprehensive way of doing a Zetec conversion for a reasonable budget. Thanks for watching. As you can see, it's another cold one this evening, so I'm going to go back inside now and have a cup of coffee. But thanks again for watching. Thanks for being subscribing. The numbers are creeping up again. We're heading towards the 4K mark already, so well chuffed with that. So please subscribe if you are a watcher. It does help to grow the channel, and it makes a massive impact on how the old algorithm works and how YouTube does its weirdness in the background to promote the video. So thanks again, and keep watching, and see you on the next one.